Hi, I'm Stuart from the Norfolk Honey Company, and welcome back to the kitchen, where today we're going to be cooking up something a little bit different, and that's pollen substitute. So I've already posted a video last year actually of how I mix up the pollen substitute, and I used several different weights of pollen substitute to sugar syrup to actually get the right consistency that I like to use on my bees. So we're going to mix up some more pollen substitute today to take out to the bees. We're just coming through our winter into the spring, and we're going to hit a slightly cooler patch over the next week or so. And what I want to do is to make sure that the bees that do want to have some pollen substitute have got it there ready, and they can start to use it and build up their colony strength as early as possible. So this is our video of the week for YouTube. We also produce a range of other videos which are posted on my Patreon page, and if you'd like to see us using the pollen substitute and putting that on the bees, which we're going to do this afternoon, then head over to the Patreon page, and I'll leave all the details in the description below, and you can take a look at the extra content that we have available to our patrons on that page. If you haven't yet seen our Facebook group, don't forget to pop into Facebook and sign up to Stuart's Beekeeping Basics. And we're also on Instagram and Twitter, and you'll find us at Norfolk Honey Co. So what we've got today is the Bee Pro Honeybee Pollen Substitute. It's produced by Manlake and is available here in the UK at the online retailer Bee Equipment. And if you have a look in the description, I'll leave some links to it there. We've used this before, and it's been very effective on some of the colonies that have wanted to have pollen substitute. Some of the bees didn't take it at all, but those that did seem to really benefit from having it. So we're going to use some again this year. So I've already mixed up a small amount of sugar syrup just for this demonstration, and it's just a light sugar syrup, so a 1-to-1 by volume of sugar syrup, so a litre jug of water to a litre jug of granulated sugar, and I've just put several jugs of water and granulated sugar and mixed those up, so that's now liquid. And then we've got the pollen substitute itself here, and last year during the testing I found that for me having somewhere between 500 and 600 grams of pollen substitute per litre of light sugar syrup worked really well, in that it produced a consistency that the bees were able to utilise quite well. It didn't go hard after mixing, so I left it for 24 hours to see whether the pollen substitute absorbed lots of the sugar syrup, and in that instance it would make the pollen substitute block too hard really for the bees to be able to use. So I kept it quite loose, and overnight it firmed up quite nicely. We then wrapped it in cling film, a plastic wrap, and put it on the bees. This year we're going to use some self-sealed bags and just pop a portion of the pollen substitute into the self-sealed bags, and then we're going to put that onto the bees. So we'll bring the camera in and I'll just show you the mixing process. So I have now completely mixed it up. It's still fairly soft, but this will thicken up over the next few hours, and you don't want it to be too solid when you're putting it on the bees. So the next step is to put this into some containers, and you can use whatever kind of containers you want to, but the key is to keep the air away from it so that it doesn't harden. So as long as it's in a sealed container, you could use a solid takeaway container that's been washed out and cleaned. You can use the cling film method, which is what we used last year, or you can do as we're doing this year, which is using some self-seal bags. So we're going to portion this out into some bags now, and then we'll show you what it looks like once it's in the bags. Okay, so we've got everything ready now, and these are the Ziploc or self-seal bags that we use. They simply pull across the top and that seals everything in, and you can keep the air out of the pollen substitute and it'll stop it from going hard. So hopefully we won't make a complete mess of this. It's just a case of putting some of the substitute into the bag, and we want a reasonable amount for each colony because they'll go through it fairly quickly. But I like to use a larger bag because then we can flatten it and give the bees more access to it. So that's 3 good scoops. We'll do one more. I'm not going to particularly weigh them out, although I will just see how much we've got in here. So we've got it in the bag. The next thing to do is to squeeze out all of the air. So there's the pollen substitute in the bag. It's still quite pliable, and that will firm up as it cools down because it's in warm sugar syrup as well. And the Ziploc bag just helps to keep all of the moisture out. And when we put it on the colony, it'll be nice and flat, and we'll just cut a strip across the middle and peel that back so that then there's plenty of access for more than just a few bees. If you cut just a small hole in the middle, then only a few bees can get in at it at once. If you peel right across in a thin strip, the bees can get at it from both sides. But we'll pop some of these on this afternoon. If you want to take a look at us doing that, then head over to our Patreon site and catch up with the rest of the video there. Alternatively, if you pop over to the website and check out our blogs, you'll see some photographs over the coming days and weeks of how we put these onto the beehives as well. So that's it, pollen substitute, ideal for helping your bees improve into the spring, and a great way of giving them a little bit of extra nutrition just before the summer pollen flows and the nectar flows start to appear. I hope you found that interesting, and we'll catch up next time. Thanks for watching.